I
Oh.
we're good with this, right? We're streaming anyway. All right, but last time we missed the Claude on the recording, the Claude claw, and I'm very upset about that. So I'm gonna
Oh
make sure.
yeah. Oh, you're talking about the yeah.
Did you
This
have it?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually more important now because I'm like, okay, well, I can actually bind some of these like workspaces to a button too. And just like being able to spin up more.
For those who don't know, this Claude claw, every single thing is like has a key binding just for using Claude code.
Yeah,
Or
this is 28 buttons. But now it's like, it's not just Claude code. And this is why my Claude numbers aren't as bad because I'm just like, all right, I'll fire up a cursor CLI agent. Like whatever CLI, every finger can be its own CLI agent in its own pane. And then you can have them like the Western CLI thing is the newest thing for me, which is like, what does this mean? Let's see, what Western CLI help? Right. So this is like it's like you give it the you put the coding agent in a terminal and then it can talk to all the other coding agents and send messages to them, which is obviously like be careful if you're going to do something like that. But it is interesting. And um yeah, my mind's just been in this headspace recently where it's like, okay, how much can I see in one screen? And and if I don't have to like switch tabs to go to see, like I could just like talk to a different agent, and then I see when the stream of tokens stops. I just like, oh, they obviously need the next instruction. Hi, like I could just, what is the meaning of life? And then you're kind of just like able to see all the streams at the same time, and then you just switch workspaces with another hotkey. Each one can be like an arbitrarily high number of quadrants. Yeah, this is like my main kind of like what I've been doing for the last 2 months that changed the way I thought about at least working on my one computer and then also accessing the remote computer.
Well, yeah, dude.
Yeah.
very cool. Anybody have questions for Parth?
Yeah,
All right, I have a question.
if I
Yeah, go
remember
ahead.
correctly, last time you were using Cloud Code,
Yeah.
or how do you like Codex CLI?
I switched over pretty much like 99% of my work to Codex. And I think for me, well, like I still use Claude Code for like content, like if it's like writing related stuff. And I think that Claude Code feels like if I wanted to sit here and work, I would use Claude Code because it's like the best. It feels like it's like I'm driving it. But when I'm using Codex, it's like you're gonna go work on this for 45 minutes, and while you're working on this, I'm just gonna fire up another one to do something else that's gonna work on something for 45 minutes. And it's like if I don't want to have a conversation with it, I'm gonna be using Codex. And if I want to just, I feel that Codex is it's a different use case for me. It's like you go do the work. I want you to do it. So I use Codex. If I'm using Claude Code, it's because I'm in the driver's seat. And oftentimes, like things related to writing content, I prefer the Anthropic models. But 90% of the time, I'm using Codex.
I
And
see.
yeah.
Are you mostly using Codex, whatever, GPT-5 Pro, big model? I know this was like there's no auto model selector with Codex, at least for Codex CLI, and Pro takes like significantly more time to think. Like I've had that thing on average probably take 30 to 45 minutes up to like multiple hours
You mean so there's like the
for the
GPT-5
CLI.
Codex versus GPT-5.
Well,
Uh,
I thought there's only models, right? It's like
It's
low,
like
medium, high thing, right?
Yeah, it's like
yeah, yeah,
middle, low, medium, high. I leave it on default, and then
I
when
see.
it's like not getting the work done, then I move up to high. Yeah,
I see.
and I use Codex, GPT-5 dash Codex over GPT-5.
Got you. Yeah, I tried switching over for the past few weeks as well. I noticed quite a performance difference in using GPT-5 Codex High. Like there's a lot more stuff that it does better, but
Mm,
it's like such an outlier in how long it takes. Like that thing will literally run for like 45 minutes an hour
yeah,
versus normal. But then there's like a long list of features that they're planning on adding. And one of the basic ones is like a hybrid sort of auto mode where it'll at least plan with the high and then execute stuff with the other. But I've
yeah.
basically found it to be useful by using a lot of the pro.
This is the one thing that's on my mind right now is the multi-hour problem solving guide that they have in OpenAI Cookbook. Because really it's like go work on this, I'm gonna go to sleep, right? Like and then I wake up, it's like, all right, cool, we got some work done. That is I want it to like if I can get it to like reasonably like work for 8 hours without me having to pay attention and then get some value out of it, I feel like that's a cool milestone to achieve. But yeah, this is in the cookbook. I'll put it in the Zoom chat.
I wanted to like understand like what you're using the multiple panes for because I've seen like a couple different things. So
Mhm.
for instance, like, are you whipping up like sub agents as well when you're doing multiple panes, or is it mostly for like parallel feature development?
It's
Or like,
so I think of it as like, okay, when you're using Claude Code, you get sub agents.
yeah,
But and you if you're using Klein, you get sub agents. But like I think of it as like, well, why is the sub like in Claude Code, your sub agents are all Claude agents. But why not have any agent spin up any agent theoretically?
gotcha.
Not
Yeah,
like all of it is I would say this is in the phase of like total experimentation and like accept that things will break, so only use it for things that are low stakes while you learn what actually because it is even I almost feel like when I do that, when I tell the coding agent to use the WesTerm CLI, I do that with Claude Code and not Codex, only because I feel like Claude is most likely to like hit the brakes or give me more tools to hit the brakes before doing something that I'm like, oh shit. Like, you don't want one coding agent to be like, oh, do I have permission to do X? And then the other coding agent to be like, yeah, go ahead, like exit the sandbox. And
Yeah.
so I'm kind of just like being cautious, only applying it to creative problems right now, stuff where it's like, what's the worst case scenario? It's like I spend a couple tokens on too many images, but nothing super important yet because I think it's like this coordination problem, and I don't know much about how to get these things to not undo each other's work, but like having them at least monitor each other is something that's interesting.
Yeah. You mentioned you're like mostly
Also, we're gonna just for the sake of time,
Sure.
we're gonna try to keep demos going forward at 5 minutes. But because Parth is a superstar, well, we'll let one more question come in. But
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned you're mostly using Codex, but like also like maybe putting other agents like in the terminal. Like, are you giving the same prompt to like 3 different agents as well? And then
That's like baked into like you don't have to design that because when like you can essentially fan out and then have them have three different coding agents attack a problem and then come back and compile a result. But like that's just natively included in the ability
yeah,
to
has that worked for you?
I think it's like it's crazy that it's like out of the box it works. Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. But maybe not for like work that can't be reversed easily. But I think it's more of like research tasks. You can just have them like fan out and say there's so many ways to handle state management. I don't know what right looks like yet.
Yeah, or trees or something.
Okay, awesome.
Cool.
Very cool. Thanks, Parth, as always. All right, so we're gonna hand it off to somebody in the room. Jeff
I'll
hand went
go.
up. So
I've been working on some cool stuff.
please join the Zoom and share your screen,
Yeah.
and we'll cast it in.
Do you mind if I gotta go in like 10 minutes?
Oh, okay. Yeah, Simon.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Simon, if you demo Ralph Wiggum, I'm gonna be pissed. That's my demo.
No.
You can demo Ralph if you want. I demoed Ralph for an hour today. I'm tired of demoing Ralph.
You able to see my screen?
Get Butler.
Yes. So yeah, I'm Simon. I work on this open source library, and we care a lot about like every line of code that gets here. So I like to be in the driver's seat. So I resonated with how you said that, like you tend to see Cloud Code as being the thing you use when you want to be in the driver's seat.
Also, one thing, Simon, you have a team budget, right, for
Yes.
CodeGen. Could you explain a little bit how you encourage your employees to use CodeGen?
Was it a reverse budget?
It's not a reverse line. So everyone on my team gets a credit card. Ideally a physical credit card if they accept it. That is for vibe coding tools. It has a $2,000 a month limit. And everyone's encouraged to try out new tools and spend the money. Obviously we also use free credits and stuff, but I try to make sure that my employees don't shy away from using things that we don't have credits for. if everyone maxes it out, it's like 10% of my human costs. Doesn't seem that bad if it makes everyone 10% more productive. It evens out.
I'll take one of those credit cards.
You gotta work for Assistant UI though.
And then one of the everyone has a different coding style. Mine is single threaded. I don't use background agents at all. So the way I maximize my coding output is by always writing prompts. The bottleneck is me waiting for the agent running because I am not going to start a new thing that distracts me too much and reduces the quality of my code. So I don't want to do that. I want to be always writing a prompt, even if I'm waiting for an AI coding agent. So I use spec files. So this is one that I'm currently working on. It's like I got to like 76 lines of specs. And it's just like me describing what things I want. And then every now and then I just open Claude and read spec and check the current state of the code and make adjustments, something like that. I don't have a standard prompt for it. Over time, the LMs get better at figuring out what's going on at the yeah. So and then while this is running, I just continue writing here. I have, if you notice, I use cursor, but I have cursor tab disabled here. I don't want to be distracted by AI in my writing. I want to, this is a thing of like, I get out of flow state if I have an AI constantly suggesting things to me. So one thing that I noticed was that in March this year, my programming output actually dipped a lot because I was like doing shallow bug fixes on new features, but not thinking deeply enough. And that I was getting that through writing code, and I replaced that with writing spec files without any sort of AI. I have cursor tab enabled in all other files, but not in the spec files. And that helps me focus more.
I was gonna ask why not just switch back to code, VS Code,
Just because I have cursor tab for
because
that.
you do the other files. Okay.
I do pay for cursor, but just for the cursor tab. I do use Super Whisper. I'm gonna check out Whisper Flow. But
It's better. I've been on Super Whisper and I can admit that Whisper Flow is better. Whenever someone's using Whisper Flow, I'm just like,
but I don't use voice mode that much either. Again, I don't get into that deep flow state that I do when I'm just writing. So I try to focus on like just the writing and actually writing it. Using my voice. One other thing that I use in my workflow that I wanted to show you is Git Butler. It's this weird tool that replaces Git, and it lets you create. So let me clean up for a second. So these are the changes that I have currently in my Git repository. And then I'm gonna look and see, okay, this is a tiny refactor of the way we do tool definitions in our docs example site. So I'm gonna generate a commit message for this. Create the commit. And then generate a branch name for it. And then while I was busy coding, I also did a few other things, like for example, the store thing that I just showed you is the same thing here, where it's like add a new store implementation. Then I create a comment here, and then I also generate a branch name here. And what's happening here is that I have two branches checked out at the same time. It's not two different work trees. It's the same work tree. It's the same physical code base on my drive, but I have two virtual branches checked out here. And I can uncheck out this one virtual branch or this one virtual branch, and I can create new branches. This allows me to first make a bunch of changes and later sort the diffs into different PRs. But
can coding agent drive this? Can the coding agent push
yeah, it has an MCP server, it has a CLI, and it has this thing that I haven't done tested that much, but it lets you start a coding agent inside one of the virtual branches. So you can have two coding agents running in the same work tree
But
which
it's not
can,
work trees, it's some other abstraction that they're using.
yeah, it's the same code base. So if I in cursor, it's all coming in here. It's
Yeah.
not going into different code bases. It's one copy of the file system. And yeah,
What's it called? What's the app?
Git Butler.
Created by the founder of GitHub.
Yes,
Gotcha.
yes. I've been using it since the alpha version before coding agents were out, and I can't live without it. But yeah, still very experimental and has rough edges, but it's been getting really good, and it's fun to use.
Very cool.
Yeah. One last thing I wanted to show you is Omnara. It lets you start Cloud Code on your machine and use it and control it from your phone. So it's just a forward commands to Cloud Code on your phone.
They did the most unhinged thing ever of, there's like 50 products that wrap the Cloud Code
Yeah.
SDK and stream to JSON. These guys wrapped the raw terminal input and they're parsing the like display characters that come out of the non-headless Cloud Code.
That's cool.
And it's way faster.
Yeah.
And they told me they spend like so much time fixing bugs all the time. And it's way harder,
Yeah.
but it's very based. I respect these guys.
That is respected.
It's literally Cloud Code and no modifications. It doesn't feel like you're using the SDK. That's slightly different than the main thing.
Yeah.
I use this at the gym. I do one set of
Nice,
prompting and one set of gym exercises. And vice versa. It's like a superset.
It's running on your laptop, right?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so Cloud Code's running on your laptop, you're talking to it from your
Yeah.
phone.
No XP waste. I love it.
Yeah.
High intensity interval.
Exactly. This way I'm like maximizing, I'm always writing prompts. And that's how I get my token usage.
Very cool.
Hell yeah.
All right, give it up for Simon.
Can you tell us your budget, how much you spend? Is it?
Last one it was
2,000 per employee, like, do they spend that much?
I think the average is around 1K.
Okay, wow.
Where does majority of that go?
There's a Cloud Code subscription. Most of us also have a Codex subscription at the same time.
Okay.
And then just credits for, we were using a lot of like Droid, Factory Droid,
Okay.
the last month.
Is it good?
Yeah.
I've heard good things about it. I haven't tried it.
Very nice. All right, amazing. Thanks, Simon. We'll hand it off to someone who's dialed in. Let's see
Yeah,
here.
I can do it.
All right, Byram, go
Yeah.
ahead and share. Also, the next person I would love to share remote would be Sanche after Byram, because Sanche has such a cool workflow and he didn't get to highlight it last time. So just you'll be on deck.
Yeah, Sanjay, go ahead then. I'll be next.
Now you can go. You can go now. I'm just booting up my Mac.
Okay, sounds good. Well, I'm relatively new here, so maybe you guys discussed this before, but two things that changed my way of doing things, and especially doing some fast prototypes and things like that. The first one is the Cloud Code SDK. Now it's called Agents SDK. Not sure if you guys use it, but I find it actually one of the best ways to prototype something relatively fast, especially if that involves code generation. And I just want to show two things. First of all, I have this pet project. I call it Darwin. Basically, you provide a one-sentence statement of your idea, and at the end, you get a working prototype. So obviously, I need some coding. I need some other stuff to be done. So I actually find the output of the prototypes generated by Cloud Code SDK pretty good. And most of my spending is actually on this kind of like, since you have to use API for the SDK, that's why basically that's most of my spending. I spend about 1K a month probably on this. And what's great, I think, about this SDK, and if you don't know that, then, oops, sorry. This is basically the description, is that you can leverage the Cloud Code via code And I think for code generation tasks, this is one of the best, as well as if you want your agents, you want to basically outsource all the stuff of, orchestrating the agents and things like that. In fact, for fast prototyping, I think this is, at least in my opinion, this is much easier and faster than LangChain's Creo AI and other frameworks out there. So that's number one. And the second thing, and basically, yes, by the way, actually, I have like my own like SDK guide that I use with some changes because I mean, yes, you can use like Context 7 or something that to get the up-to-date SDKs, but there's things that you want to basically change in terms of guiding the way the agents are developed with the Cloud Code SDK. So that's why I have like my own guide. It's like a combination of what Codex and Cloud Code actually helped me write. So that's why I always start like, hey, like review the guide, and then basically I'll instruct you on what's the agent I want to spin, and that helps a lot on hackathons and just pet projects or fast prototypes for a customer meeting or something. So that's number one. And number two, one of the like discoveries of I think the last couple of months was that I can actually use the Cursor or Cloud Code or Codex for data analytics tasks without actually having a data analyst in my company. So essentially, I was just showing, hold on, I think it should be, yeah, it should be here. So essentially, I basically wanted to show other developers and founders how to leverage this functionality. So what I did is that I have a bunch of CSVs, obviously, with these are like experts from CRM. And then basically I use either Cloud Code or just Cursor. That depends on basically your preferences to slice and dice the data, get the insights and things like that, like calculate the velocity of deals in Q1. Basically, I get that kind of stuff generated, and I think this is a great help for founders who not only like code, but also have to do stuff sales related or marketing related and things like that. So that's these are the two discoveries or things that I frequently use to, and obviously the coding agents made this thing much easier for me. That's all I had.
Very cool. Okay, just so I understand, so how exactly are you using the Agents SDK? Is this like, have you built an app around it, or are you just that was a little bit unclear to me.
Sure. So for instance, let's look at this one here. So in this app, I need to generate a landing page for that idea that you had, right? So think of this as a mini Lovable. So as you can see here, what I do actually is I have some MCP servers, basically those that connect to Google Veo and some other services for image and video generation. So I have the MCP servers. Then I basically spin off, I configure what kind of tools I want to give that Cloud Code instance to, like in this case, write, edit, read, the glob, grab, and the tools from the MCP servers. And then just I can just spin off a Cloud Code instance with a bunch of permissions. Most of the time you want to use like a bypass permission mode, and then just tell the Claude Code instance to generate the landing page for me, given the prompt for the landing page generation that I have. And then it just does the stuff. As you can see here, that's when basically it starts generating, in this case, a landing page, and I get some callbacks to provide updates for the user in terms of when a given file was generated and things like that, and send updates to the UI. So essentially, it's you spin
Could you
up.
show off the could you show off the interface? This is like pretty cool. Is it CLI or is it a web app, or how does it work?
It's a web app. Right now, I would need it will take some time, but I'm gonna share as the next speaker talks. I can share a video of the whole kind of process of this. You know, from one sentence description to deployed Netlify deployed landing page or prototype.
Gotcha. So just maybe to summarize what this is, it's like you've taken this notion of like you're trying to get out of the CLI and you're configuring like a custom Claude code with all these MCPs, all these tools, all these permissions, and then you can access it through like your own UI layer and just do whatever you want with it, rather than using the CLI. Is that the idea?
Yeah.
Very cool.
That's right. Yes.
All right, nice. If you want to cook up some stuff in the background, we're gonna show a little bit later, but anybody have any questions about the workflow? Going once, going twice.
I'm gonna update you also. I do have to get out of here at 8.
Okay.
Sorry, I've just found out. But that gives us room for, I don't know how to count. 7 to 11, 10 more talks if we actually keep to the timer, or
Yeah,
probably more.
there's a lot of time.
Realistically, more like 5 or 6, but
I know a lot of people are driving, so you know it's not like everyone's gonna demo.
yeah.
All right, awesome. Well, thanks so much. Very cool. Yay. All right. Jeff wanted to show something off.
Let's go.
All right.
Jeff.
All right,
So
so
you're at
the
the Zoom?
guys, just to clarify where we're at, I am not a software engineer at all. These tools have enabled me to build things beyond my wildest imagination. And I swear to God, over the past 6 months, I have been developing like crazy. And I use these tools to the max. Now, let me share my screen, I guess. Hold on. Okay. Sorry, I have to do this systems audio thing. I don't know why it matters. I'm not doing audio. Okay. Allow later. All right, let's see if this lets me do this. Oh, I have to restart the browser, and that totally fucks everything up. Okay. Let me see if I can do it.
Maybe join the Zoom.
Yeah, I
Like
have
this
to
your
join
desktop?
the. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
That could
probably
work.
download the desktop app. right?
Hold on,
Yeah.
I'm gonna join meeting. What's the? Here we go. Okay.
All right.
All right, I'm just gonna share tab by tab for now, I guess. So this is the first thing I built.
Can you are you sure?
Yeah, I don't think I have to. But it's fine. So this is the
No, it's
first
on
thing.
the Zoom. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, should be on the Zoom. So I built this thing called whocoversit.com. Was the very first tool I built. And I started using Cursor. This was like, I don't know, probably a year ago. And as Claude Code came out, I moved over to that. So this is literally a full-scale B2B SaaS application. It lets you find journalists who you can connect with to tell your story. So you can use it as a PR agency or a PR firm or even a startup who want to connect with.
Also, what's your damage per month? What's your bill?
Oh, I pay like $750 or so per month.
Okay. Very nice. And how do you spend it?
So I spend most of it on subscriptions to Codex and Claude Code. And then I also have subscriptions to Exa, where for this product, we use Exa. I'll show you. So like, I think I have to change my tab. Okay. So this is like, that was like the start. Here, so we built in a bunch of different things. This uses OpenAI to model, so you can find out like if you want to do a pitch to a journalist, you want to figure out how you should approach them. What are they writing about lately? What's the beat? What are people talking about? So this will give you an understanding of what are people saying in the space right now on any particular topic. It'll give you all the sources you want. I built this all over the course of the last 6 months. And like, so that I think that's pretty cool. It'll give you key insights and even suggest queries that you can follow up with to learn more about a particular topic. You can obviously get links to all these journalists. So like Anna at TechCrunch, like these are all things that are important. Oh, I'm not sharing that part of the screen. Hold on. It's and then you can build media lists from these journalists here. So you get their email address, you can see kind of like why they might be a good fit, why there may not be the best fit for this type of pitch, gets all the information, pulls all this from X's websites, and then you can easily kind of collect them and do monitoring. You could build a monitor and kind of track the journalist over time, and see when they're publishing, and then use AI to outreach to them to build relationships, which I think is pretty cool. The other thing I built, the second thing I built was this RFP wizard. It saved 75% time for companies that reply to RFPs, which is a lot of time. And honestly, like these tools are, you don't need to know you don't have to be technical in order to build this kind of stuff anymore. Like, I mean, they're like, if you're a PM, even if you don't code, you could figure out how to use these tools and build stuff. You guys know that, like, it's not hard. And I feel like people are missing out on like these opportunities to build things of their dreams. Like I built a music tracking app I've literally built everything and anything that I could think of. And the other cool thing I recently built, and I'll end on this one, is over the past 2 weeks, I built a fun little app for me and my friends called Cackles, which is my nickname. And it's like a Clubhouse inspired spot where it's voice audio chats built on top of Agora. And it uses Supabase. And actually, it's not, I have that. Maybe my bill's higher than 750 at this point. I don't fucking know.
Could you show us like, you know, how, so you have no coding background at all?
No.
So what's kind of like your, how do you do it? Are you like all CLI?
Yeah, so everything I do through work. And I
Or
log into
like
Claude
the
or
terminal,
Codex.
yeah.
So what I've been doing lately has been like, I usually use Claude, but if I'm running into a roadblock with Claude, I'll be like, all right, give me the details on what we've been trying to do, what we've tried so far, what hasn't worked, and where you would think we should go next, and write it for like another engineer. And then it outputs that, and I give it that to Codex. I'm like, see if you can do better than this.
Mm.
And typically Codex is able to solve that stuff when I find having trouble with Claude. So that's,
You tried having Claude call Codex?
yeah, on the phone.
No, I mean, like, have the Claude CLI.
Oh, no, no, I haven't. That's actually a good idea. And I should do that. But yeah, I mostly just use the terminal. And now with this Cackles app, I use Xcode, which I've never used before in my entire life.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. So the worst thing are the certificates. I think.
Yeah. It's
The
a
nightmare.
Apple and
So now I'm trying to set up push notifications. That's my new thing for right now. And every day is kind of interesting when I'm working on these problems. Like I just talk to it, and then I let it kind of code it, and then I know how I want it to work. So I just kind of drill down and kind of tell it here. I steer it. I'm like, here's what I want to do. I have it right. Like often I'll prime the pump. You know, I'll tell it like, here's what I'm thinking. Like, how would you approach this? Tell me, outline this for me. And then I go into it and then, all right, let's build it now.
Mm.
And then like, I'll say, or write a more detailed prompt, you know, to go by. To make sure I don't miss anything and get it as much one shot as possible. Like I built into like the monitoring feature I mentioned on Who Covers It. I built that in an afternoon, the start of it. Like the framework was done in an afternoon, and it's a very complex kind of feature. Um, yeah, I don't know how the hell I do anything I'm doing, but I'm doing it and it's fun and people seem to like it.
And it's all CLI. Like you're
Yeah.
not using cursor, you're not.
I used to use Cursor when I started Who Covers It. I started with Cursor, but I haven't used it for like 6+ months.
Wow.
I open
Incredible.
Cursor once in a while to look at like a file just to make sure I'm like the nvars are right or something.
Gotcha.
Same.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Anybody got questions for Jeff? Going once, going twice. All right, very cool. Thank you very much, Jeff. That was awesome. It's actually really amazing because I remember you used to have like a really, really high bill, right? Used to be like what, 2000?
Yeah, well, that was like when I was first starting with Exa, it was pretty high because I didn't know what I was doing. I was doing
And
like
now
a
that you're
lot
more
of API
experienced, you're
calls that
able
I didn't
to.
really need to.
Gotcha.
But now it's around, I would say, some $50 to $1,000 all in with like all the different services between, because I add new ones every once in a while. Like I just started paying for Supabase. Now I also pay for Agora, which is not AI, but it's part of the I incorporated in that cost, I guess.
Cool.
Um,
Very nice. All right. Sanche, you want to go up? You ready?
Yeah.
All right.
So,
let's go.
I don't know if my screen is visible. One sec.
All right.
Yeah.
Everyone,
So,
ready to cut the shame.
that's not like that. I liked everyone's workflows up to this point. That's why I go last. I like to like observe and see what other people are doing. So there was a disaster this morning, which was that I'm on my another Mac. Didn't have my project, but I do have the initial setup that I did. So I'll go through that over quickly. But the entire thing that this is going to do is I just wanted to figure out a way where I can actually minimize the cost and then let it run autonomously for a few hours or so, and let it handle the entire front end and back end, starting from the front end. I'll show
Also,
you the
what's
output that the
what's your bill? What's your damage?
so my damage starting from before this, like from the past months until this point, it was like $800. But for the last 2 months, I'm capped at $300 because this is I just used two things: Claude's Max subscription, and then Codex Pro. So I'm trying to extract like huge value out of this $300 that I'm spending. Like if I need, I do have my Vertex API, and then I can just plug in my Google Cloud credits if I need to. But so far, I didn't have the need to do that. So at $300 is like perfectly fine, and it just gets the job done to a crazy extent.
Very cool. All right, let's see it.
Yeah, so this is the thing that it built. Uh, like after like 4 hours, 60 minutes or so. Uh, and I used Codex as well as Claude Code, both of them simultaneously. Uh, Claude Code because I had my custom hooks and different agents that it started working together. I didn't have skills back then when this was released, when I was creating this. So I had to create my own version of skills, which was like proper context tracking and then huge directories with different agents. And like, if I just show you how my
Need to
Markdown
advertise.
files
You one
actually
shot
are
at
in
that
the system
website.
is like,
That's insane.
That's like it looks
yeah,
so good.
yeah. So I one-shotted
Uh,
this website. Uh, the core part of this was like prompting it accurately so it knows that it does not have to go ahead and use its own brain to design stuff, but wherever it can find libraries that designers have actually built and be wise enough to use that, check use like take screenshots and use so the initial prompt that I have in the system prompt is like telling Claude or Codex that you're actually blind, and the only way that you can actually see the site is by either creating ASCII versions of it or like console logging it at every step, even if it's displaying the headers or displaying any font. So it has no other option but to view it that way. And like to a certain extent, if Playwright does not work, it is blind. So the system prompt actually makes it, you know, like every single comment that it makes, it has breadcrumbs on top of the files, so that if it's, so I context optimize it. So if it's reading, let's say, landing page.tsx, it knows what are the next files after landing page and one file prior to the landing tsx page. It's like a blockchain kind of stuff. And like if it reads one file, it understands everything that it needs to do. So that is something that I do that allows it to actually create good UI. On top of it, what makes a good UI is that ShatCN launched its MCP. I'll show that to you. So with ShatCN MCP, you can add your own custom registries of the libraries that you like. I like Magic UI a lot. So you might see that this UI resembles Magic UI a lot. Then I also like there's one more shader library, paper shader library. I like that a lot. So I just add these registries over here, and then I created my own version of skills back then, which was just markdown file that tells it accurately what it needs to do. And then it would actually, if it is a landing page that is designing, it knows that okay, Magic UI's header component, this is how you need to do it. So before I started working on this site, before I started running the agent autonomously, I spent like 3 days just talking with every model out there. So like my current workflow is that I just open Claude, I just open Codex, and I just set it to the skill. Sorry, not the skill mode. I think what is that called? I forgot. Yeah, the style. I just set it to explanatory, and then I just start talking with it. And I start talking with it for like an entire day, 2 days of like what is the best advanced workflow that you need to do. Or let's say I'm not a designer, so how do designers actually do it? I'm not the best person to optimize stuff at scale. So what do people do it with? Or people that have that knowledge. So once I talk with Codex Claude a lot, then I start to do it. And then this was also a hybrid workflow. So what I do is I have a bunch of agents over here. Let me just go. If, is my VS Code screen visible?
Yeah, it's just like it's just so funny to me that like you open up all these files and they're just all markdowns. All these
I have
directories,
so many
are
more.
they're just all markdown directories. It's crazy.
Yeah. So I have this backend agent, design agent, a DevOps agent, a front-end agent, an intelligence agent. Intelligence agent is just Opus 4.1. The model set to Opus 4.1 and Codex high reasoning, and it checks up on the other agents once a while, and then just like routes them if they are deviating. Orchestration is something that like again manages all of the things that I want. Quality is something that I was working on, wherein I just want a, a way to inject the current screenshots and console logs. I was using Chrome MCP, and I found it better than the Playwright MCP, to be honest. So as soon as it launches the landing page on, let's say, localhost 3001, at that instant, if the model calls Chrome MCP, it can find out everything from console.logs to screenshots and all of it. And due to the system prompt set up in that way, where it is blind, to be honest, so it is a lot, but it actually understands like what is the set timing of the title that is being displayed, the animation time, the flickering seconds, and all of it. And if it scrolls down, then that is also console.log. If there's an animation component that is running, let's say a wheel at the end of it, what is the duration of it? What's the start time and all of it? So it actually understands and lets it code better the next time. Then I have the slash commands that let's say if I jump in sometime in between, I'll just run those and just sit and observe if it's working fine. I have a lot of hooks, and that is something that I use to let it auto run for a while. So after every sub agent, after every tool use, after the entire response has been done, so that is what keeps it going. After this entire thing was done, I have like other config files as well. Um, Custom sh files that it so these sh files, these bash files are something that the agent uses rather than having to code it directly. So it will just, okay, I was able to do that, let me create a bash file for it, and next time I'm just going to run that. So I'm telling agent to save its own time, and it works. And then what I did was I ran the entire system in Codex as well. So Codex also performed good, and Codex has this way in Codex Cloud to, it can just return you back with screenshots if you tell it to that, okay, once you start the landing page, go ahead and do this. So it will actually monitor and it will take screenshots and analyze it itself. So this is my uh, GitHub repository, and yeah, also uh, I have Codex and Claude Code bot over here as well. So every time I push, their system prompt is tailored to find out security audits. And let's say the prompt is set up in this way that I don't want it to be maximized itself into security audit because it's a landing page at the end of the day. But it should focus more on the UI UX stuff, uh, responsiveness, elements breaking or not breaking, and the likes of it. So it is more tailored to that. So it will create its own PRs. It will fetch it. It will push commits if it needs to. And then again, the hooks would take that feedback, again, discuss with the orchestrator agent, and then do it. So that's how it got to this thing. This is the agency that I run. And it amazed me as well because, like, for example, this thing right here. So the initial prompt was that I'm trying to sell agents to people that need it. So how would I convince them without dropping my own value? Because I don't want to pitch it too good that the clients think that, bro, you as a human are not worthy. Let me just get agents. So I wanted to find the right balance onto it. So like the phrasing it used that operator-led AI agents only deliver when humans keep refining prompts, watching transcripts and tuning automations in real time is something that I wouldn't have uh, that thought wouldn't have come into my mind in any sort of way. That was something that made me like crazy impressed by it. Uh, so different
And so-
components to use.
Wait, he didn't make any changes to this website? He just complete one shot?
This
Yeah.
was one shot.
Yeah, complete one shot.
And this was with Codex, right? So you gave that file directory of all the sub agents and the hooks and the commands to Codex, and then it was able to produce this.
I ran so Codex and Claude Code were working together for this. So you know the -p command, wherein you can just invoke it for one particular instance. So Claude Code would invoke Codex when it needed the high reasoning ability. So it was Claude Code on top of everything. And let's say if so Claude Code would just run a sub agent, and then the sub agent would trigger the Codex high reasoning and it would be like, okay, this is how I think. And while it takes 15 minutes, it would work on the next thing. And it had like again hooks. So after a 15-minute hook, it would check back on, oh, what's something that Codex did. If it's returning something, it's good. Again, if not, it will set a sleep count for, let's say, next 5 minutes or something.
How long did the whole thing take to run?
It took me 4 hours, 53 minutes, 5 hours at max. It even got me blogs and case studies and stuff, and its own case studies were better than my case studies. Like, I mean, like my own custom case studies that I've created from the clients that I've served, it wrote better than me. So I'm impressed myself about it. So the next thing onto this thing, what I'm doing is I'm connecting the 11 Labs agent SDK now, and the next iteration of it. So what will happen is there would be a small green icon on the bottom of it, and let's say you come to my website, and the 11 Labs agent will have like custom DOM manipulation stuff. So let's say the agent would know if where exactly are you on my site? Are you on the pricing page? So if you're on the pricing section, it would just start talking with you and it would be like, oh, will just actually like, so the what I've gone up to this far is it will based on your location, based on your gender, or whatever it can find from your Chrome part. When as soon as you come onto my landing page, it will set the, if by chance it figures out that you are from XYZ location, it will decide which language, which accent, which gender to use, and then it will just start talking with you that, okay, you are at this section, so it would be like, okay, what are you trying to do? And it would just be a sales agent trying to convince the user while the user is browsing my site. And then I have a lot of forms at the end, so I hate filling forms. So the first task of this agent is going to be that it will just ask these questions and would try to get the answers of it and fill it automatically if the person does not fill it, and then
All
get
right,
put in a
so
meeting.
this is awesome. I'm gonna open up the floor for maybe one or two more questions. Because we got about a little bit of time left, and I know we have some hungry demoers. So, anybody in the room or on the call want to ask Sanjay something?
Yeah, just more about your prompt process. Like, how do you think about, and with all the different hooks and things that you put into the flow? Like, how do you think about writing those documents, those MD files and stuff? Like, is there a way?
Uh, so, well,
Is there a way you outline out all the information for it? Like, what are you doing?
so how I do it, like, it evolves while I was working. So I worked on like this autonomous UI thing. I call this AI factory for like the past 10 or 15 landing pages. So it was like iteration and improvement over time. So if there was something that the agent was facing a bottleneck on, or if it was getting stopped, or like it was getting failed on that point, and then how I would fix it, I would convert that thing into a markdown file later point of time. So before Chrome MCP, I was facing issues with the Playwright MCP. So I would have to, stop it. So a basic example that I think most of you can relate is, let's say the Codex autonomous agent or the Cloud Code autonomous agent would start to run the port itself, even if the port is even if the server is already running on XYZ port, and it would just stop it, restart it, wouldn't find environment variables. So if I face that problem, I'm like, okay, let me create a bash script for it. So every time it is stuck on this prompt, if it's stuck on this part, it would refer the markdown files and then it would run the bash script. So that is
Gotcha.
how incrementally at every problem I create a MD file and a related bash file for it.
Okay.
Very
Thank
cool.
you.
I can go if possible.
Yeah. All right. This was awesome. Thanks so much, Sanjay. Incredible work.
Thank you.
All right. And Page Paul, Dex, you want to demo also, or?
I can if there's time.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
have to.
I'll be pretty quick.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we got some time, I think, for at least,
All right, name, what are you working on? What's the spend?
On Page Paul, I'm working on a CLI agent and I spend around 1100 a month. I think that
Hold on, I'm
okay.
trying to do this.
Alright. Cool. So I've been dog fooding my own agent, so I'm gonna try to like for every feature that I talk about, I'm sure there's like something out there that people can try the equivalent of. But yeah, so this is like our CLI agent like OB1. The main like feature that I find the most useful is like it's switching between models it during a task. So this is like this idea called an agent alloy, where it's like just like an alloy is like stronger than its individual metals, like an agent alloy is stronger than its individual models. This is like an idea from this company called XBOW, like does like security agents. But basically like every time I'm doing a task, the agent will like switch between three models. So it'll switch between like Sonnet, Codex, Opus 4.1 at every step. So you get like a bit more robust experience. Let's kind of run through some stuff. I've been thinking a lot about like code-based indexing versus agentic search. So we have this like init command. There are a bunch of tools that like I've tried out there that like do similar stuff, like git ingest, repo mix, Claude context, code to prompt, for instance. But basically this is gonna like dive into all your like git log history, like understand who's working on what, what your like most recent bugs are and like go and like create this like MD file that serves as like really important context. So I felt like customizing or like rolling out your own indexing can be useful for the right types of projects. Um, the flip of that is just like investing in like or using tools like better agentic search. So many of you have probably like seen the like cognition blog post on this that came out like 10, 12 days ago. But yeah, I've been enjoying that. I think it's just in like Windsurf right now. You can see like this fast context code. It's like grepping a ton of files in like 3 seconds versus the equivalent cursor one I just ran was like 12 seconds. This is just like a toy prompt, but I think I'm gonna be like using that much more. If I feel like that's one of my biggest pain points is that like if code-based indexing is like not fully invested in, I like most of the time agentic search is just like way better, but it's just insanely slow. Like Codex takes forever. Codex I find to be like way better than Quad Code at like planning, but it just like takes a ton of time. Um, then two more things.
It even looks like it moves slow when it's moving. It's like just blinking
Yeah.
at a much slower rate.
Exactly. Huge fan of plan mode. I spend a lot of like even in cursor, but I'm sure like the other CLI agents also have a version of plan, but I've been using R plan mode quite a bit. I think just it's really important. I haven't been able to get this whole like multi-agent, multiple pane stuff to work well for me. I'm kind of like single-threaded, built like spending a lot of time playing with it and then like being very deliberate and synchronous with its changes. So I use plan mode a lot, and then it's similar to like the code-based indexing stuff, like collecting a ton of context. Big fan of like this tool, like saving memories. I'm sure you can like add your own like save memory MCP or tool, and just like important things that I'm working on, like much more granular than like the other like cursor memory. Like save like I find that to be very helpful so that it just like knows like especially in like large code bases. Um, let me see if that's also okay. I guess last thing is like I've been exploring like MCP for like language servers. So back to like faster agentic search. If you have like a language server for like Rust, you can like go to definition, like look at the implementation references much easier through like this MCP. The main one is being like it's like kind of deprecated or like not there. It's not really active, but um, I find it to be like much more helpful than like once again Codex spending a ton of time like searching through things. So
Just a random small thing, but that MCP market, like, where do you all find MCPs these days? Like Smithery or like
Smithery is one of the ones I
yeah,
I forget what the other website.
If you're using coding agents, why not just use CLIs? Why use MCPs at all?
I mean, that's what Parker's doing, right?
yeah, I agree. Good
We-
blog post on this by Mario.
Mario, there's like a bunch of good ones from the AMP code team as well. Oh yeah, this one I shared. I've shared
Yeah.
this one with a lot of
This is a
people.
great one.
Yeah, we like threw out the linear MCP and rewrote it as a CLI because like to get a linear issue in all the comments is like multiple calls and all the responses come with like a shit ton of like JSON and UUIDs and all these things where it's like you're burning 50 tokens for no additional information.
Hmm.
And you do that over and over again in every context window.
Yeah, so
And then you have the 7K tokens of like, here's all the tool definition. Like, okay, my linear CLI has a dash help and it tells you everything the model needs to know to use it well in like under 200 tokens.
That's impressive.
Apparently the Sentry guy was posting about this too. Sentry, they had like a MCP that was like 13,000 tokens and they got it down to like 750 or something for the actual tool definitions. Because they just have one tool and then the first thing is like, which action do you want to do?
There's another talk, on MCP night about like Mux, and they basically are like a video API for developers, and they have like, I don't even know, 200 tools or something like that. And they actually will window down to like 3 core tools that you call, and it's essentially like, think of it as like a RAG search that like when you call that tool, it's going and doing like, whether it's picking up an agent that's grepping and figuring out like what's the right context and which is the right tool to send back. So you're like adding additional tools. I don't know how like
Mm.
good that is because people took tool call, like, the tool array,
Yeah.
everything in the beginning of the system prompt or wherever they place it.
Yeah,
I'll place it, but
I met someone who like has this project where like if you're about to call a tool and that tool has a description in your system prompt, they'll like take that snippet and it will add it to the bottom of the system prompt right before you call the tool, because apparently it just like makes the model smarter at using that tool.
Yeah.
What do you mean by about to call a tool?
Like if I'm about to call like some like search file tool or something, and in my system prompt I've like described that tool or how to use that tool,
Yeah.
it will like take that snippet and it'll like put it to the bottom of the system prompt because like the model's like
it's kind of
better
like
at
well structured.
receiving that.
But how do you know it's about to call a tool? Like,
It does a tool call and it'll just like you interrupt it there, you change the system prompt, and then
and
you
then
Oh,
you
that
generate from the
Yeah,
floor.
but that kills the KP cache, then.
I don't know what it's like. Apparently it's just like
Yeah, I mean, it's
You could append it to the end of like at the last user message.
yeah. I'll find the repo and send it.
Oh,
It was like someone's open source project.
So anyway, back on track. So to kind of summarize, you're building something. Is it fair to call it like a competitor to like Factory / Codex or like
Yeah, it's a CLI agent, so
Gotcha or
yeah.
Warp or like this kind of
Yeah,
stuff?
like-
Gotcha. And I'm very curious, like, do you dog food or like how do you build what you're building, right? Like, what does
Yeah.
that process look like?
Yeah, I feel like every time we start a task, we're starting with OB1.
Mhm.
We're starting with our agent, and that's like basically how we're coming up with like our most important bugs and like features to build stuff.
Mhm. And are there kind of like any patterns that you adopted beyond just kind of like type the thing in the console and let it rip, or like like Park had that really interesting workflow with all the split terminals and whatever. Like,
Yeah, I've tried one of that. Like I've seen what there's this, like like Zellige multiplexer. Basically it'll, like open up new windows. We've been trying stuff around like each sub agent is like a new window. So it's like a bit like favorable on the UX there, but I just haven't been able to get like a good multi-agent or sub-agent thread, like sub-agent like workflow to work for me. I feel like I still have to like really babysit a lot of these models.
You should try RPI.
okay, what's that?
It's the research plan implement. Well, it's optimized for Opus, so if you're not using Cloud Code, it won't work well, but it'll still work okay. But it's got a lot of. We only use like 4 sub-agents. We don't we actually like slice it orthogonally. We don't have like a front end and a back end and a QA and a testing agent. We just have like, it's like code base locator. So it's like a sub-agent is literally just like find all the files that have this thing in it, whatever it is. And we have code base analyzer, which is like start at the entry point and trace the code, like trace the code flow down as you might with an LSP, but just an agent doing searching and grepping, and then just return a summary of like, okay, if you call this endpoint, here are all the files that get touched in that code path. And then we have like code base pattern finder, which is like, hey, show me all the ways we do atomic SQL updates in our app, or show me all the ways we test these types of things.
That's very cool.
All right, awesome. Tejpal, you want to add anything else, or that's a wrap? All right, awesome. Thanks, Tejpal. And wait, let's suspend.
Around 1100.
1100. Very nice. All right. Dex, you want to show?
I'll give a really quick demo. I've given this demo. I spent an hour giving this demo this morning, so I'm a little bit burned out because I woke up at 5 a.m. to do the demo. You want a demo?
It's a small thing, yeah.
All
You guys
right.
work together?
No.
No,
Okay.
no, sorry. I need to build Zoom link though, because I'm not.
Oh, yeah.
Dex.
Okay.
I did just
somebody.
I
Yeah,
did
can you
just
send it over?
also did a link. Yeah.
Great.
I did just
Anytime,
tell Alex to join. But yeah, what's your spend these days?
So my personal spend is like a little over 500 per month. I could do both OpenAI and Claude Max, Max and Pro plan. And then I have been experimenting with Factory. So I just bought, a couple $100 worth of credits for that. And then I have a team of people. I haven't done the actual like math. It's over $1,000 per month. So
I'm gonna join from my phone.
All right, dude.
cool.
Thanks for showing up.
All right. Thanks, man.
Thanks. See you around.
You're on.
Later.
No, just pull the slides. Yeah.
Also, thank you for getting pizza.
Thank you.
Very much appreciated.
Thank you to my investors for getting pizza.
Thank you, investors.
All right, cool. You guys see my screen?
You have to- you-
Yeah,
it's not on.
Sorry, I turned it on. Yeah, that was my fault. Okay, so I do spend about at least like 35 hours a week coding, but I do have a team, and in order to keep them sort of fed, I need to constantly be looking at like, hey, what are some new little innovations that we're doing? And a lot of the times it'll be like working with, integrating an existing code base or a library or et cetera into one of our existing kind of workflows. We use Convex for our database and backend. And we actually I've been using the agent component. So the agent component is Convex's like persistence layer that's built on top of the AI SDK. But I just didn't really like that much that they like just fully like integrated everything at the AI SDK. I think it should be more of a neutral persistence layer. And so I've been experimenting with BAML on some of my other projects. I like the way that BAML's doing things. And I thought, well, what's great about BAML is you can just easily define all of these types in BAML, and then you can actually essentially compile it into any language that you want. So I thought, okay, what would it take in order to kind of combine both, where I can sort of replace the agent component AI SDK and use BAML for the parts that I want. And so I have never actually looked at like BAML, like the documentation. There's like a lot of documentation. There's a lot of obviously like code. And so what I'll do a lot of the time is I'll basically go to AI Studio and I will use something like, Pacemax or Repo Prompt. Pacemax is free.
Wait, what is Pacemax?
Pacemax is Repo Prompt, basically.
What's
It's
Repo Prompt?
Repo Prompt is like, here, I'll open it.
Context engineering workbench.
Yeah, so like you can just open up any folder and it'll give you it all. I have like a global filters. So I've like built this up. So it's like, okay, I don't want video files, MP4, I don't want dlib, I don't want, all these kind of files. So it ignores that. So you can just actually like select all of it and you can see this like 250K context. And then you can like,
That's too many tokens, dude.
of course,
You
but
gotta use less.
yes. And so what I'll do is I'll select it. Actually, I'll do a two-step process because I have no clue. Let's say this is an unknown code base to me and I need to understand it. I cannot prompt AI properly if I don't understand it, like, the research, implementation, etc.
You gotta have the code base downloaded to your brain, otherwise it's not gonna work.
Well, again, I'm working on new code bases
Yeah.
that we're integrating other code bases and we want to get an understanding of it.
Cool.
And so what we'll do is I'll either be lazy and I'll just say, you know what, Gemini has that context. And I think Gemini after like 400,000 is bad, but it's bad at generating code. So it's bad as a coding agent, but it's very good about context in terms of like what files does it see that it needs to like, I need to be paying attention to. So that's how I use it. It's kind of like my own quick gut check. Like, does this make sense? What file should I pay attention to? Once I have that, then I go back into Repo Prompt, select those files, then give that to a coding agent and have it do like the research plan. And so it dramatically simplifies sort of like gut check, like, will this actually work? Because I don't want something to actually go and start researching and implementing and writing if I don't even believe that this is something that makes sense. Well, long story short, we wanted it to be like a universal layer for an agent framework for BAML. It didn't make sense to do that. What we did do is we actually built and after multiple conversations, these are all separate conversations. So I keep taking the context from one part and
Using it a little bit.
yeah, I mean this is just simple. I'm kind of explaining it, but we ended up saying let's make a Convex universal tool component. So it's just now we can expose HTTP endpoints. Essentially, it's like an MCP SSE server, but now we can control it and we can actually make it so that the before any agent session with Pikecat, AI SDK, Mostra, BAML, anything, we can actually have it request a manifest, basically the manifest of the tools, and we generate on the fly all the proper tool definitions that each framework requires. So we generate the Python, we generate the TypeScript. So AI SDK, Pikecat, they all just see like the tools that you give it. And so now I could have an agent that is a chat agent like AI SDK, and then I immediately want to go into voice, it has the same capabilities. And I don't define everything in PipeCat. I define it here, and then I code gen the tools.
Okay, that was my question. It's like when you say generate the tools, you mean you actually, yeah, you generate the source code and then you just import
Correct.
that into the framework, whatever you're using.
Correct. And so we have like files for each framework that you just need to add. We'll eventually make it a library. But now like I can have a universal tool kind of library, call it. And now I can work with any agent, and every session can be different. So it's not just, oh, I built this agent and this is how I did it. And like, you know, you can do like active tools and non-active tools, but for this, you could actually have an agent on the top say, I'm starting this session, what tools should I give it? So it's essentially like, and you have, it's almost like a coding agent where it can like look at the context, look at whatever it might need, and then say, oh, these tools would be good. So it's almost like a tool selector agent, and I'm keeping everything as a universal tool library.
And just to rewind here, I know we want to cut
Yep.
some time, but what are you building?
Yeah, so we're building multiple products. We have like a mobile app, we have an Electron app, and we're building like agents essentially, just leave it at that. We have something called Deep Experts. You can just with voice say, hey, I want an expert in, you know, PipeCat and AI SDK. And then it will go off, do the OpenAI deep research, come back, get all the context. And then now you can chat with it just like ChatGPT, but then you can also do voice mode, and it has tools. So it builds the tools that you want for that deep expert. So if you wanted like an EXA tool, that should be really simple to obviously add. Just like, I mean, you can do it through MCP, obviously. So it's like almost like an agent builder that, you know, you can create, but now you have across frameworks. If I have some feature that only Mostra has, like memory, and I need that, I can use Mostra without having to ever change my underlying code.
Very interesting.
So
Cool. What's the name of it?
this is called, one app is called Deep Experts, another app is called Neutral Agent.
Malaysia. Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. I know we're some folks have attenuated, but any questions from remote chat or IRL chat? All right. Very nice. Thanks, Alex, for the feedback for this chat.
As you can see, I have no respect for question time. I just end up interrupting the speaker.
All right, and then last but not least, our glorious host Dex, who gratefully bought us all the pizzas and gave us the office space after our other venue did not work out.
Yeah,
so.
we're gonna shame the other venue.
Yeah, no. They're gonna throw some cool parties coming soon. So
all right. What should we talk about? I built this thing. I'm gonna go really fast. Let me jump into Zoom. No audio. Let's go. All right. Sick. This meeting is being recorded. All right, we're on stream. We're ready to rock. I built this thing, and by I built this thing, I mean I'm using this system that was created by this guy. Jeff
screen share?
Oh, yeah. I thought I was screen sharing. Hold on.
Sometimes there's bugs.
All right.
Very nice.
Jeff came up with this thing a while ago called Ralph Wiggum. It is basically you run a coding agent in a loop forever. A lot of people talk about like, oh, how do I get Codex? The Codex will work for an hour and you don't have to prompt, it'll just go. And like Claude, you kind of have to like, it'll just stop working. The LLMs get anxious and they're always looking for like a place to stop. And I've seen some people do this prompt that is like, don't stop after 9 steps. Don't stop after 10 steps. Don't stop. Like the end of the prompt is literally just like lots of instructions to try to tell the agents, keep working, never stop working until it's done. Don't pause, just keep going. This one's interesting because you actually tell the agent to do a lot less, but you run it in an infinite loop. And so I'll show you kind of like the one we put together here.
Also, a quick intro of yourself plus damage.
Oh yeah, my name's Dex. I run a company named Human Layer. We're building this fun little IDE for managing coding agents. It's kind of basically Claude Code, but it's got a whole bunch of extra features like keyboard shortcuts and multiplexing, and you can launch lots of sessions and you can manage them all. Anyways, this isn't a demo of Human Layer. I'm showing you Ralph. So I made this tiny little Next.js app. I made this morning. I'm going to be pushing the code up for this. But there's basically 3 components. There is the loop script, which is like run Claude forever in a loop. I'm actually gonna remove the visualizer for a sec. So you basically run this and it runs Claude in headless mode, and it basically streams out JSON of everything that's happening. So every user message, every tool call, you can just run this. This is like Claude in headless mode. A lot of the tooling built on top of Claude Code uses this. I'm gonna show you what it's doing in a sec, but I will just put this back on to run in pretty mode, and we'll just nvm deactivate real quick. Something's up with my node setup. Got too many different node environments on here. But you can run the script and it'll just run forever, and it'll just and basically, so the prompt we're dropping into it is, you know, read what's in the specs, read the code in the source directory, read the implementation plan, and implement the single highest priority feature. So I'm actually asking the agent to do as little as possible, because I want to keep most of the work in kind of the, what I call the smart zone of the context window. Because basically, once you get over with most of these models, any transformer LLM, once you get to 30, 40, 50, 60% of the context window used, everyone's seeing the performance starts to drop off. And so this is a way to basically say, like, just implement one tiny feature, check one box, and then make sure the test and linting pass, and then update the plan with your progress, and then commit, and then you're done. And then we run that in a loop forever. Each one of the loops takes about a couple minutes to run. So this one's going, it's reading a bunch of files, it's fixing a bunch of Prisma stuff. What's in the specs is like not very much. It's just this one file. It's like we said, let's make a to-do list application. You can log in with email and Magic Link. User can add to-dos. They can group to-dos into lists. Looks like this thing started adding features here. I ran this for too long. So I kicked this off at about 5 a.m. this morning, and it was kind of running all day. By 10, it had some bugs, and I actually came back and like kind of just like deleted the implementation plan, because what happens is you start this with no plan, and then it will just create one, and it will start to track its own work of like, okay, we've done all these things, and it's just constantly going through and updating this. It ran out of stuff to build, and so it just started making up new features to add to it, because it wasn't in the specs. But what it basically created is this dumb little to-do app. So I can even show you it did the like login with email. Okay, let me see if I can log out here. Actually, yeah, there we go. So we can send a Magic Link here. I'm going to pause this real quick while I go click this link.
Out of curiosity, did you pipe in like screenshots or like what Sachi said, like, you know, having
No screenshots, no validation, no self-review. So yeah, here I made a list and I made it to do, and you can set up email digests and daily notifications, and I made it to do, and it says it sucks. I said, you know, no, it's actually, you know, get more tokens from Anthropic. And I can add this to a list, and this list you can, you know, view, you can show activity. So yeah, updated the title of the due date. It's not good. But the thing you can use this to do that's really, it's not very good actually for web apps, but what Jeff used this to do was to make an entire new programming language, which is basically Golang, but all the keywords are like Gen Z slang. It also probably made this website as well. But what it's got, yeah, so basically like this is really interesting as far as just
How
like
many lines of code
this is like millions of lines of code.
Okay, yeah, so
And
it's it looped for.
basically you run Sonnet in a loop forever. It costs about $10 an hour. You think about what Google paid for Golang was like hundreds of engineers over like the last 10, 15 years. Yeah, it's a really cool workflow and technique. I encourage you all to go check it out. We use it for certain things. I have it here for making a greenfield app. You can use it to create specs. I have another one here that is like doing a refactor. So I basically just put this in our code base, and I said, let's see. Yeah, this prompt is like, read the code, and then read the coding standards, and then read the refactoring plan, and then complete the single highest priority item. And so it created this refactoring plan, which has like, you know, remove barrel exports and new settings dialog from state to ZooStand, and like break down the response editor because it's too big, and like consolidate all the state. And it's just like done all this random stuff based on my like React coding standards, which is just like a doc that I made with Claude in an hour. And so the specification of like, how do we want our code base to look And then you just run this thing in a loop and just like make one little change to move from where we are to where we want to be and run that forever. And you can get some really, it can break and fail in really weird ways, but it's a fun thing that like I've been experimenting with for a lot of random stuff.
Cool.
Nice.
Very nice. And give it up for Dex.
Woo!
Yeah, sick.
I'm not, I know you have to head out, so.
Yeah, I gotta lock this down soon. By the way, we did just do a webinar on this for like 90 minutes. So if you go find my Twitter feed and scroll down like three posts, there's like an hour live stream with Jeff on how this works.
Quick question on
Yes.
the smart context zone. You said 30-40%, but obviously models are 1 million and they don't, it's not 30% of 1 million, it's more like 100,000.
I think if you're over 100K tokens, you better be doing something really fucking easy. Like if you need to reason across tests across multiple
Yeah,
files.
But regardless if it's 1 million context, for now, at
No,
least.
yeah, exactly. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
that's like the physical limitations of the like model itself. Transformer attention still like scales quadratically, and like the more stuff you have going on, the less quality results you're gonna get.
Well, and it's trained on fraction percentages on anything over 128K or 200K, right? Kind of thing. So
I mean, I'm not an
Right.
expert at
Okay.
LLMs and like model architecture, but I do know that like it's funny that they gave Sonnet $1 million context, 1 million token context window when I see most people struggle to keep it on track above. the
Garbage
100K.
Yep.
There's garbage in the kitchen. I'll walk with someone can help me
All right,
throw the
cool.
trash out.
Well, everybody on the stream, thank you for joining on Twitter, and for everyone who honed in remote, thank you for the demos. It was really fun. Hope we can do this again sometime. It's actually really interesting because I think we did this like what, 4 months ago almost. It was kind of long overdue, but I was expecting token usage to actually go way up, and instead it's gone way down. Right?
Oh, I didn't show mine. I spent $600 this morning.
600. Okay. Well, and that, so because everyone's left, you do win the prize for that.
No. Okay, I'll take it.
And the prize is a copy of Midjourney magazine.
Ooh, nice.
Congratulations.
Are
And,
these just
you
all
can have
just
one
like a
too,
bunch
'cause
of,
you're
a bunch of generous? You win the last man standing. prize.
All right, and I hope this was fun. I learned a lot, and we'll do it again sometime. And I'm looking forward to all the crazy cockamamie methods.
Thanks,
And,
Alex.
If you're not part of the group chat already, DM me. We share a lot of knowledge about hyperengineering, so looking forward to it. Cheers, all.
Luck.
Cheers, it was amazing.
Stop. And stream. All right. Goodbye, everyone.
Yeah.
Good to meet you. Thanks for coming by. Good luck with everything, man.
Thanks,
It's
man.
exciting.